Hi guys, we're here with Gabe Perez. He just got shout out in 2 videos, top 8, so he's actually pretty insane. He got top 8 as well, going 7-1, only losing round 6 with, that's crazy.
Hey, what's up, Gabe?
But literally only losing round 6, top 8 the regional with Brave Tenyi, gets 5 boxes on top of all the regional gear from RMC. It's pretty insane. I've never seen a regional like it. So let's get into it.
For sure. It's pretty standard. A lot of us were kind of talking about the deck. I would say like a few days before the event. I think there was like some general consensus on some stuff and some deviations. So I'll just kind of call out deviations from like standard. But 3 Water Enchanters. Oh, we're not siphoning in this deck, guys. So it's just going to be a Brave Tenyi standard. And then the 1 Wandering Griffin Rider. Some people like 2, some people like 3. In the past, I've experimented with 2 and 3 just because the level 7 does come up with the Rose Dragon package. And it's just really nice to open this card because when your opponent uses their Ghost Ogre to engage with your Fateful Adventure, like you can extend. But for this list, we were trying to go for a little bit more lean so that we can see more hand traps. So yeah. And then for the Tenyi ratios, and I've done this and I kind of like this, so I'll probably keep doing this if I play this deck for other events. But it's 2 Otera, 3 Ashina, 3 Vegeta. The main reason why we're not playing 3 and 2 or 3 and 2 is because you want to open Vegeta. Like this is your single best out in any game state. Like this card's just amazing. Like you special it, you go for Monk, like it just puts instant pressure on the opponent and just forces them to interact. And then the Ashina is nice just because it's a level 7. It's an investment for later on in the game, but anybody who plays this deck kind of knows that it'll sit in the grave for a while if you don't, pull the trigger on it right away. But just having that level 7 on demand is really nice, that extra extender. And then of course we play 2 of these. I wouldn't do any less than 2 because you want the tuner extender. And you can go 3 on this. I just prefer the level 7s. So yeah, that's kind of the main Tenyi and adventure stuff. We have 3 Red Rose and 1 Rocks Rose. It's all pretty standard. And then we're not playing the Long Yawn. We're going for Tai and Moye. I don't remember who I was talking to about it, but we kind of decided like Long Yawn is just super unnecessary in this deck. It's very much when more like if you open Blackout, then you can search Long Yawn and then go for like an extra level 12, but it doesn't really come up that much. And then you just don't want to open Long Yawn, so yeah, it's not fantastic. But these 2 cards are fantastic in the deck. There's a Boxia combo where you use this and go into this. Or if you hard open the Tai, you can just go into this. Or if you hard open the Moye, then you can just go Tai and go that route. So good cards, gives you level 8 access. Foolish Burial, it's really good. And then the hand traps. So we got 3 Nib, 3 Ghost Ogres, all pretty standard, I think. I think the hand trap lineup's kind of solved right now, but we're just gonna go these 12. Obviously we play these because they're level 3 tuners. That's really relevant in the deck. Veiler enables Hauk, and then Nib is probably like the best hand trap that you can play right now in pair with others just because it's a blowout. I had a couple games where like I had Nib Veiler, like not matches but just like duels. It's just crack. Like you get Nib Veiler, you feel so safe. And then we're playing 13 hand traps in this list because we're playing the 1 token collector. You make Shooting Riser Dragon in this deck on demand, and so depending on what your hand is and kind of what your investment is for the next turn, sending that Token Collector comes up, and it comes up a lot. So a Token Collector is really, really good in this deck just because you can send it. And then if you hard open it, it's a viable hand trap in a lot of matchups.
Yeah, even linking with that and Hara.
Oh,
yeah. It's a hand trap that comes back, so you only need a normal summon just to make Hauk. So.
Bro, no, yeah,
really
good. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. I had a game where I'm trying to remember. It was I sent Token Collector. I brought Token Collector back. I remember. Okay, so I had Token Collector. I brought it back, and then I went Shooting Riser Dragon, and I dumped level. I forgot. Basically, I made level 8 with this and like a Shooting Riser. I want to say, but it was kind of crazy. Maybe not. I don't know.
No, you probably saw Enchantress.
Probably.
My guess, level 4.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, yeah, I was Enchantress. That's right. So I had the Token Collector already in the grave setup. And then, we Token Collector, we popped the token. We went Shooting Riser, sent the Enchantress, made Shooting Riser 4. And then we made an 8. We made a Berserker Tenyi on the turn, which was nuts. That was so nuts.
And one thing I think, you didn't play Snow, right?
No, we didn't play snow.
Yeah.
We chose this instead of snow. It was actually kind of funny. I was playing this in a VW list that Tommy was roasting me about the previous. By the way, Tommy was roasting me about the previous night, and Kamal was like looking at the list, and then he saw that we were playing this in the main deck for like Foolish Burial shit, and then like the next day. Like we were just playing Toad Collection in the main deck, like that was the thing.
Yeah, and it was really strong for me too. I played it over snow.
Yeah, no, it's this card's nuts. And then the Despot for the Hauk Reward on Access is, I think it's like mandatory in this deck. It just puts too much pressure. Like you have to have that. This is kind of where the ratios get a little weird, but well, this is pretty standard. 3 Rite of Arrows here. That's pretty standard. We kind of went experimental. I would not advise people do this. I think you need to be decisive in your deck lists. But I went 2 and 2 because it was more just kind of testing for the future events coming up. I just kind of wanted to feel out like what cards were more functional, playable, what was live all of the time, what was live only some of the time. And so this was just something of more of an experiment, just trying to see what I liked better. And I liked E-Tele better for sure, more than Vessel. Vessel's nuts. Like Vessel is a crazy card, but like E-Tele was just more functional in a lot of situations. And then I also I wasn't playing the Cherubini, but I really wanted the Cherubini. And with E-Tele, like Cherubini's free, and then it's just a much more defensive line of play. It's really hard for them to interact with you when you're going Cherubini before like Hauk. So yeah. But yeah, we were playing 2 and 2 of that, which is...
Well, so you'd commit to E-Tele in the future, you think?
I think that's a lot of changes I'm making to the deck. I don't really want to talk about it right now because we probably can take that to YCS. But yeah, it's...
Well, this one performed, so...
Yeah, this one performed. Yeah, this one performed for sure. Yeah, so Fateful Adventure, Basil Rose Shoot, Draco back, the Mommy Dragon, and then Blackout. So all pretty standard. Blackout, you just search off the yugioh. Basil Rose Shoot, like I know some people are like still trying to learn this deck, but it's really important to remember when you're getting worm locked, and so like you'll find yourself a lot of the time banishing the Oshner from grave and then chaining the Basil Rose Shoot just to make sure that you can access that level 12. So that's really important. And then again, this card like makes Cherubini super strong. Like I really wish I played Cherubini in the list. My original iteration had Cherubini, and then yeah, we changed it up, and I wanted it. Extra deck. 1 monk. Kind of wish I had 2. I don't know if I'd play 2, but there were a lot of times where I wish I had 2. Dark. I would say it performed okay. Maybe underperformed a little bit, but when I used it, it was cracked. But I don't know. There's not a lot of situations where I wanted to make it when I could have made it. 2 Hauk. I thought the second Hauk was going to come up more, but it didn't. So I might cut the second Hauk from the list. I'm not too sure yet. Auroradon, you need it. Access code was Dogwater today. Like I just never made it. Or like when I made it, it was already win more. Like I was already winning the game. So definitely want to make some changes to this extra deck. And then Formula, Shooting Riser, Yazi. Shooting Riser I think is necessary in this deck. I didn't think it was necessary previously. And then I was testing with Kamal over the week. And this card was just cracked for him like all week in our testing. Like, this card was nuts all week. And so I'm like, yeah, I need to play this. Like I have to. Boxia, Yugioh, Berserker, and then your 3 level 12s. I would say all of these cards performed as expected. I think Shooting Riser overperformed a little bit, which was crazy. Your opponent interacts with your Hauk. You don't have any other line of play. You pass to them. In this deck, if you don't have a line of play after Hauk, it usually means you have a bunch of hand traps. So like you have Hauk on their turn, you banish it, you go for the Shooting Riser, and then you can literally recruit Water Enchanters for the next turn. You can set up a token collector. Like you have a few options available to you. To advance your game state or inhibit your opponent's game state in the future of the match or of the duel. And so those hand traps paired with that ashed Hauk ends up being really powerful. It just puts a lot of pressure on the opponent. There were a few games where like I was like all I could do was Hauk, but that that meant I had like 2 or 3 hand traps, and then like when it passed to them, like we just kind of stalled out that turn with the hand traps, and then next turn we were just Water Enchanters and going for games. So yeah, Shooting Riser, I can't say enough good things about it in this build. And then this card, I never made it all day, so I know it's good with formula, but I'm almost considering cutting both of these out of the list and just keeping that. Like if I do one Hulk, I might do that. Like cut them out. But I gotta figure out a viable alternative, like something that is gonna be usable. So before I start making those changes, it's just tokens. And then we have the side deck. So Necro Banshee and where's my Zombie World? There it is. Necro Banshee Zombie World. It didn't come up, but in testing it was against Flunder. And against like Tri-Brigade, against Cybers, like there's a lot of decks that this comes up. But Shooting Riser sends this, so you just send this off Shooting Riser and then you just make it the next turn, which is good. We 3 Drolls came up a lot. Like this performed like overperformed. I was really happy with the way this performed because I was a little worried about Droll right now because of how versatile decks are in this format. But no, Droll was pretty strong. Overperformed, weird enough. Triple Tactics Talents. I didn't think it was going to, but yeah, it was nuts. Like every time I resolved it I should have won that game, and I think the only game I lost when I resolved it was a misplay on my part, so it wasn't like anything that was wrong with the card itself. So, but yeah.
I'm expecting those to see Abby play at the YCS for sure. Talents is insane.
Yeah, like going first is GOAT. There's so many hand traps in the format right now, like it's just free. You rip a card out of the hand, you draw 2. Like in a lot of decks right now, drawing 2 is deadly. Like your opponent interacts with you, 1 hand trap, and you're stuck, and then you draw 2, and it's like everything unlocks. Like there's just so many good rips right now. And then again, like vice versa, like ripping a card out of your opponent's hand, they hand trap you. You have enough gas to put up like 1 or 2 interruptions, and you look at their hand, it's like, oh, you got a Radivera Mesir? Yeah, no, not anymore. Back in the deck.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like this deck really needs more going first cards because the Tenyi engine's just insane going second. So even though the combo is so sweet going first, it's actually you lose a lot more games going first than I think going second. Yeah. Scythe lock aside.
Yeah, 1000%. Twin Twisters. Originally I had Cyclones, and then Tommy gave me shit for not playing Twins, so we're playing Twins, and it was good.
Yeah, I've been spamming that.
And it worked. Red Reboot is cracked today. It was really good because like a lot of the decks that you sided in against, like they play 1 trap, but it's a recruitable trap. So like even this deck like with Blackout, so they really just don't have anything to set off of it, and you just stop that play for the turn. It was also really good against what's that deck called? Tri-Brigade, because obviously you just shut down the I don't remember, what was the card called?
Tri-Brigade?
Yeah.
Oh?
Revolt. Yeah, it's good against Revolt, yeah.
Good against Schism too, for sure.
Yep, good against Schism. It's good against like decks that recruit traps, but doesn't necessarily play a whole plethora of them. It's also just good against trap decks. If you know how to play this deck, it's like you have the Vizier to bounce, you've got the Draco back, you've got the Baron pop, and you've got the Yazi pop. So like you have 4 intuitive on-demand removal for back row. Like if you can't play through back row, you're probably doing something wrong because this deck can play through back row super well. And the Red Reboot was cracked. And then I think the card that performed the best in the side deck today was Different Dimension Ground. I've used this throughout like different formats, and any deck that I can use this going first, like I love it. It's a Macrocosmos. It complicates your opponent's turn so much. So if you have like 1 or 2 interruptions, like it's the sauce. Like it's really, really good because it's chainable. Like, once it resolves, like that's it for the turn. And this doesn't just affect monsters on the field. It's just any monsters in general are sent to the
it's basically a shifter, right?
Yeah, it's almost a shifter. It's not spells and traps, but it's for all monsters. So like sending from the deck, if you have to send as costs, like I don't even think you can souls with this, right? Because souls sends as a cost.
Yeah.
The monster, it just shuts down so much. It's like every time I drew it was just absolutely amazing. And then I think a couple other profiles were playing it too in their side deck, and I talked to them, like I was kind of guinea pigging with them a little bit, like seeing how it was gonna work, and they all said it was great when they had it. So
yeah, and like we said, you need more going first cards.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's kind of pretty much it. I don't think I mean, there's probably some changes I will make to the side deck for the YCS, but I don't really want to talk about that right now.
Well, congrats, Gabe. You are the Krusty Krab. You got 3 secret formulas. All of them, Plankton's trying to steal.
Yep.
Yep. All right, give us some shout outs before we end this.
Shout out to Ellis for hosting the event. Shout out to Team RMC, all the teammates that we tested like last minute and just like bounced some theory. That's always really appreciated. Shout out to Ben for just pushing it through with the rogue deck and just being really receptive. Shout out to Penn for topping too. He's really young, so it's always cool to see young people top and just kind of innovate on ideas. And shout out to my wife. LavenderCat.s on Instagram, LavenderCat.art. We sell a lot of like fan art, original art, stuff like that. So if you guys are looking for some cool
It's
swag.
pretty insane. I mean, look at that field center.
Yeah,
she made that.
this. Yeah, it's metal.
I'll put a link in the description for that for sure.
Sweet. Awesome.
All right.
All right, guys.
Let's go.